abortion legal here?
I don't know. I don't believe in abortion now. I think if God bless you with a baby, you should have it. If you don't want it, give it to somebody that can have it. So I don't believe in abortion. I'm bad to say because I'm a woman, but I don't.
Do you know how many kids are in the foster care system because no one wants to adopt them? You can't just say, oh, if you don't want it, just give it away. It's not that fucking simple. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about Appalachia's disappearing hillbillies. I saw a clip of this video pop up on my TikTok For You page and I was like, listen, this is the perfect brain rot to react to. Actually, I don't even know if it's gonna be brain rot, but I guess we'll see together. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment for more videos like this, and let's get into it. If you would really like to support me, you can subscribe to my Substack. It's free and I publish articles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you would really like to support me, you can subscribe monthly for only $5, the cost of a cup of coffee. Go to the link in this video's caption, www.arianajasmine.com, to subscribe. It only takes a couple of minutes and you'll really be supporting me and my journey as a content creator. All right, let's get into this video.
Hillbillies, inbreds, drugs, poverty. Appalachia is the media's favorite punching bag. But is any of that?
Oh my god, wait. It's pronounced Appalachia. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Please blame it on the fact that I'm a first-generation immigrant, okay? I still say things wrong. Appalachia, okay? I got it.
That real? To find out, we went deep into the mountains of Georgia.
You can't run us out, you can't stomp us out.
Our destination was Rabun County, where Deliverance, the movie that made Appalachia the villain, was shot. Deliverance's story of Appalachian inbreds terrorizing a group of city folk has shaped America's perception of the region for decades. We wanted to know what was truth and what was fiction.
A lot of the locals do not like the movie just because of the way it portrayed us.
The trip started in Atlanta. Progressive, modern, urban. But just a couple of hours north, things looked completely different. The city, gone. Replaced by the country and the hills. We were headed as deep into the mountains as we could go. On the way there, though, we stopped to talk to people about the area.
Are hillbillies still a thing?
My neighbors would consider hillbillies, I guess, because they backwoods country and ain't got no sense.
The first thing we learned was that this was a deeply conservative region.
When somebody starts talking about this transgender junk and killing babies and all this.
When someone starts talking about this transgender junk and killing babies. Listen, we're like what? We're literally 1 minute into the video. We're already on this shit. Perfect. This is the exact brain rot we need right now, given the state of the country.
This kind of stuff. There ain't no way I'd vote for him.
The people here are quick to remind you, Appalachia isn't just the country. It's something else entirely. A different culture, a different pace, a different history. Yet, like the country, Appalachia loves Donald Trump, its Bibles, and its barbecue. Our destination was in the mountains, but we stopped on the way to hear stories like Christians, a Marine Corps veteran turned beekeeper who waved us down on the roadside to ask if we needed help. That's Appalachia, a place where strangers don't stay strangers for long.
Where are you from?
My grandma literally lived like right where that light pole is if you turn right there.
So what's the deal around here? What's it like?
I mean, crap, there's not a whole lot to do unless you're into nature. The difference between like hillbillies and redneck. Redneck is gonna be like your dipper, probably a loud gay truck. The real hillbilly, like a real bad one, I mean, those are the rebel flag, racist usually. They'll fight tooth and nail to say that's not what that flag means, but...
Still see that around?
Dude, they have a store next to Walmart. It's literally a rebel store.
That's like American culture right there. A rebel store right by a fucking Walmart. What more can a true American ask for?
Where's that? Do I want to go? Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that's some good shit. You'll be like, whoa. I mean, there's going to be, yeah, they're still fighting the good fight. They think the South will rise again or something, dude. I don't know.
Forget the Confederacy. Tradition is
He said they're still fighting the good fight. Brother.
alive here in many ways. Many towns have markets like this where people from the mountains come to trade stories, sell what they've made, and share a little of what they know. This and other traditions remain more intact in Appalachia than just about anywhere else in the country.
I was raised in the Tennessee mountains, and when I moved up here, my wife's parents, they lived up here.
Where you were raised, were there paved roads, electricity?
No, I thought we were rich because we had a 2-seater outhouse. Past Atlanta, then you're in the South, but up here, no.
How's that different?
The people, their attitudes and stuff, and you can tell by the way they actually act. Like you get down into Atlanta, everybody thinks they're shitting up the stink, you know? And me, I don't care. I've had people in Atlanta try to hijack me in my other truck, and I carried a 45 right on my damn seat. One black guy came up and said, "Get out of the truck, we're taking it." And I just took my pistol, stuck it up the window. I said, "Well, which one of you down? There's one to die first. Because I'll leave your ass laying in the road driveway."
chill the fuck out, dude. No one's coming to the Appalachia to beat your ass. Like, go fucking knit and look at a river or some shit. Jesus.
I'll go home, smash the barrel on the gun, put a brand new barrel in, and they can't tie me to shit.
There may be no scene more associated with Appalachia than this. Billy was 15 when he played the banjo boy, but when Hollywood left, Billy stayed. And when Deliverance was nominated for Best Picture, Billy ended up spending years working at a Walmart unable to afford his medical bills. He still lives nearby and his relatives run this diner.
Billy's story was Billy didn't get any money from it, or got very little money.
He got very little money, yes. I mean, they portrayed us pretty badly in the movie. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the locals do not like the movie just because of the way it portrayed us, so.
We learned where that banjo scene was shot and went to take a look. In 1972, it was a dirt road and wood shack.
So you saw the video, dirt road, hillbilly playing the banjo and everything. This is it right now. Obviously a lot different. Now that being said though, this is still a remote and rugged area. We'll take a walk over here where there's some houses that kind of capture that. There's like
I don't know. I really want to go to the Appalachia. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do. I kind of want to see it for myself. You know what I mean? But then again, when I think about it, like, I'm not a white person. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of these white people can go into these spaces and just kind of like dominate and do what they want to do. But it's like, if I went there, I feel like someone would beat my ass. You know what I mean?
a dozen dogs just came running off this property over there, and there's something going on. We're gonna go take a look. There's another one, dude. How many dogs do you have? Another one. Oh.
A house up, we met this girl.
What's up? Hey. What you guys got?
12.
12? Wow.
Yeah, we got more up at the house.
She told us that if we really wanted to understand Appalachia, we needed to go deeper. But she warned us, be careful.
There's some crazy people on this road, just letting y'all know.
Are there?
Don't trust him. He just threatened to shoot my dogs because his dogs ran after my dogs.
Most people around here have guns?
He had one in.
It's kind of giving the Wild West. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Have you guys watched the old Clint Eastwood movies where they just shoot and they just fight whenever they want and they get into like shoot-offs and shit like that? Like, that's the vibe it's giving.
In his hand just a couple minutes ago.
The guy that came running down here yelling?
Yeah, I was yelling at him back because he threatened to shoot my dogs, which he's already shot one of my dogs. This one, he shot it with something and it was right beside her heart.
You shot that little dog right there?
Yeah, this one.
What the?
And she's my baby, for sure. And we've had problems with him. He's stolen stuff from us before. My dad doesn't like him. My dad wants him off this mountain, but so there's a tin out there. When the cops come up here, he'll go out there and stay for a couple days. And there's guns up in there because I walked up there one time.
What's it like around here now?
Full of druggy people, for sure. Everyone that lives on this road is druggy people. What
kind of drugs?
Mainly fentanyl.
Really?
A guy just died from fentanyl. Banner, come here. Good boy.
So we got back in the car and we started driving deeper into the mountains in search of the mythical hillbilly.
Do you think these places get high-speed internet and or modern infrastructure? No, I don't, and I'll tell you why. So when I lived in Louisiana, I lived in Louisiana for a couple of months. Some of you guys know this, but I lived in the county that's outside of New Orleans. So it was like a 5-minute drive into New Orleans. It's called St. Bernard Parish or St. Bernard County. And when I tell you getting internet to be able to stream there was impossible. Like, I had to wait a month until I could find high-speed internet that would allow me to stream. And even that was a little wishy-washy. Like, sometimes it would let me stream, sometimes it wouldn't. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a little hit or miss. And the infrastructure in Louisiana was so freaking bad. So I feel like it was the same thing, to be honest. I feel like it's the same thing in rural Georgia or anywhere rural south, to be completely honest with you. Same with Mississippi or Alabama. I think being able to get high-speed internet and or decent infrastructure where there's not a lot of potholes, you know, the roads are safe to drive, it's safe, etc., is just like not really existent. It's just in general, I think rural southern states have this issue where like infrastructurally they're just heavily lacking. It's like a developing country. I mean, I lived in Iran for a year and Iran was much more developed than St. Bernard Parish in Louisiana. And I know a lot of Americans think highly of themselves, but it's like infrastructure wise, internet wise, like we are lacking, especially when you're not in a big metropolitan area like LA, San Francisco, New York City, you know, Chicago, whatever. Once you go into the rural areas, especially the South, the infrastructure is heavily lacking, and a lot of Americans don't know that because they never even go to those areas. You know what I mean?
After a few hours of driving through the remote beauty of Georgian Appalachia, we spotted this man, Don, off a gravel road. We were in the middle of nowhere, deep in the mountains. If anyone was a hillbilly, he would be it.
We can't.
Oh my god, not the casual fucking Jesus. The casual Confederate flag?
And Don off a gravel road. We were in the middle of nowhere, deep in the mountains. If anyone was a hillbilly,
That's crazy. You know what I want to know? I wonder if any black people live in the Appalachia, because honey,
he would be it.
We can all our food. We grow our food in our garden. My wife cans it. We're true blue-blooded Americans. What would happen if all the whites and all the blacks got along great all the time? What would it be?
never call a black person BLACKS. That is so derogatory. Do not do that. Maybe he means well. I don't know. I don't know what the conservative flag, but like, do not call black people that.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here.
Hey, y'all out of Atlanta? A little turd.
How long you live around here?
35 years. When I come here, it was a dirt road. I wanted land. I was a trucker.
You need a place to store your trucks.
Well, that and work on it. I got a big shop and everything. 5 I keep up.
What's your favorite?
That there's my baby, but the one I drive the best. You want to see my favorite?
Absolutely.
Come on in here.
Thank you.
He said, what if the whites and the BLACKSs could just get along whilst having a fucking Confederate flag on his fucking license plate? That's crazy work.
So this is my little prize joy right here. This is a 1941 military Cadillac. 95% rust free. Open the door, look in there.
Wow.
2000, I say, or before, this little before, they paved the roads.
You have electricity out here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a generator too.
Okay.
We country folks survive.
City folk know that city folk don't know.
Well, nature. People in the city have no idea about this. This is nature. I mean, just like the Indians, this is all Cherokee land. All of this is...
I hate to say it. I feel like if there's anyone that could survive an apocalypse, it would be this dude.
This is Cherokee. You can dig up Cherokee stuff all over here. Arrows, everything. This was all Cherokee land at one time until the whites took it.
Yeah.
The whites did a very bad injustice. I mean, I'm a white person, but the government did a very bad injustice to the Indian. We can our food.
I didn't expect him to be so empathetic towards the indigenous people. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
We can all our food. We grow our food in our garden. My wife cans it. She's an old country girl from Franklin, North Carolina, 20 miles up the road. You know, and the mountain people are totally different. I know some people call them hillbillies, but they're not hillbillies. I mean, hillbillies live further away up in the woods, but don't get around nobody. The mountain people, they know you. They do anything for you. I got great neighbors. I mean, it ain't the almighty dollar. It's being neighborly. You know what I mean? Neighborly. We all try to help each other. We all try to look out for each other. You know, I mean, we look out for the rich people over here.
So what's a hillbilly compared to a mountain person?
They usually just stay to their family. You know what I mean? They don't go in town much and stuff, you know. But, you know, I mean, they're good people. I know one that lived down the road before I even moved here when my sister lived there. He used to get a jug of moonshine, and when he got in trouble with his wife, he'd get on the moonshine, the jug of moonshine, get on his mule, and a sleeping bag and his shotgun, he'd go up in the hills. He'd go in the hills for a week. Stay out of trouble. Me, I'm a history buff. I love history. One day we'll all be history.
Well, I got a question about history.
Yeah.
So I know you got this flag on the front of your car here.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What's that?
We're Southern heritage. It's our heritage. It's not racism. You know, everybody says, "Oh, you see a rebel flag? That's racism." You want to see what I got on the back of it?
Absolutely.
Come on the back of it. Just because we're rebels, I mean, you know, there's an American flag.
What do you saying? You know, having the rebel flag there, it's against the country. It's against.
No, it isn't.
Lost.
We're Americans too, but it's our heritage. You know, I was born in Chicago. So I'm basically a Yankee, okay? I was born Yankee.
You got 6 weeks of Yankee. And then...
So I got 6 weeks of Yankee, and I was in Florida all my life.
Yeah.
Until 17 when I joined the military. But, you know, we serve our country, and just because someone has a rebel flag, that ain't racism. I mean, I'd help anybody. I'd give you my whole shirt off my back if I need to. What would happen if all the whites and all the blacks got along great all the time? What would it be?
I'm so confused. Maybe he just doesn't think that flag is racist at all. Maybe he just thinks it's a part of who he is, I guess, without its racist history. I don't know. But you know, it's interesting because I think this is like a phenomenon when it comes to a lot of people who are, you know, quote, patriotic or conservative. They're very nice people. Even in Louisiana, you would talk to the most, you know, voted for Donald Trump, will not get vaccinated, like the most, my pronouns are USA type people. But then you talk to them and they're super nice. But the issue is that when you bring up, you know, vaccines or whatever, that's when the real, you know, personality would come out. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you didn't talk to them about politics, they were fine. And, you know, Southern hospitality is a real thing. You know, people who grew up in the South, they do have a lot of Southern hospitality and whatnot. But it's just interesting because I don't know. I feel like this needs to be a case study. I feel like he means well, but he doesn't know the context. I agree. You know, I don't want to give him credit because obviously I don't know him and maybe he's, you know, whatever. I don't fucking know, right? But based on what he's saying, there might be a little bit of ignorance where like he doesn't know the full context, or maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Like, I don't know.
It'd be harmony, right? But see, a lot of people push it back and forth. And I'd say the politicians do that. What's wrong with this country is they turn their face on God. And if you turn your face on God, he'll turn your face on you. I don't know you from Adam's house, cat. I don't even know your name. But I'm talking to you. Yeah. Because you know why? Because I'm American and I believe in God. My father was born in 1903. I was born in 1959. He was 56 years old. And I asked him, when he was 80 years old, I asked him, I said, Dad, I says, you was born in 103. I said, you've seen from horse and buggy to automobile to planes to rockets. I said, what do you think? He says, son, he said, I was a kid yesterday. You flip your fingers, that's how fast your life goes by. I'm gonna ask both of you what the answer of this is. What is the smallest thing in the world that makes the biggest difference? The smallest thing in the whole, it don't matter whatever you think, the smallest thing. You tell me what you think, what the smallest
love and compassion or some corny shit like that.
Thing in the world makes the biggest difference.
A handshake.
What about you?
I was thinking an air molecule keeps us alive.
No, sir. Attitude. Your attitude is
this man said air molecule. You know what? A for effort.
My father was 80 years old. He died at 81.
Redneck difference.
Just, you know, we're down to earth, but we stand our ground.
Do you consider yourself a redneck?
Yes, sir. I'm a redneck. I tell you, I got a redneck too, buddy. Okay? I'm a redneck, and just like the old song, country people survive. We got a four-wheel drive and a shotgun. You can't run us out. You can't stomp us out. You ain't gonna stomp us out. We're true blue-blooded Americans. Born and raised here.
Don had seen the mountains change. When he arrived there was no one else. Now, the house across the road from him is worth millions of dollars. Similar developments are cropping up elsewhere, and the city is encroaching.
But, you know, the rich people moving in. You know, everybody from the cities are moving up here. Yeah. If you look around, you'll see where they're putting houses all over the mountain.
This might be a hot take, but I feel like living up and being this guy's neighbor is probably, I feel like it would be such a good way of life because you're in a beautiful area with nature. You have neighbors that are all close to each other that are there for you. You probably have more of a sense of community. You're living a healthier life. You know, you're growing your own food. You're eating your own food fresh. And so I feel like if you could just take that racism factor out of it, it could be a very nice way of living. But the issue is that, especially as a person of color, if you want to live there, it's a little scary. Like, you don't know if one racist person or two racist people are gonna, you know, pull some sundown shit, you know?
Is it changing it out here for you?
Oh yeah, well yeah. Our taxes went way up because of the mansions and everything. They done sold that place They just sold it 2 or 3 months ago. Over $8 million. Yes, sir, right there. $8 million.
The Appalachia Don knows and loves is changing.
Taking us up to a river. He said, you're not going to believe this river, so he wants to show us that. We're following, it's a couple miles to get there.
This is where we come fishing. This is all national forest, all of it. This is unreal, ain't it? Look at this. Look how clear your water is. You drink this water. This rock comes off the rock. This is all full fish. But I mean, just to look at all this. I mean, look how clear that water is. That's the reason there's no they won't let no industry in here, thank God. They don't want that water polluted like it is in Atlanta. No chemicals. What do you see here that you don't see all over the place? Trash.
Yeah.
You see them signs? There's signs all over the road. $1,000 fine. You throw shit out and you get caught and one of these people turn you in, you got a $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, there's nothing, I mean, it's just, it's
look,
so natural.
Clean. This is persimmon community I live in, and us, the people, keep it clean. We actually have days that everybody gets out and takes trash out.
Don told us he may not be around to see what happens next. After hours of talking, he casually mentioned that he had cancer and wasn't sure how long he'll live.
65 years old.
Oh no, that just made me sad. I'm sorry, I know I said some mean things about him, but he actually grew on me.
385, you know, I'm still moving, brother. I'm gonna move. They're gonna have to cut my fingers off to get me, brother. I'm gonna hold on. You ever gonna forget this place?
Never.
I never will.
Never. Can't thank you enough, Don.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
He was at peace with it, he said, because he'll give his land, his little piece of heaven, to his son and be laid to rest in the woods.
I'm passing everything down to my sibling. I mean, not my siblings, but my son. You know, and I told him, I said, if you ever sell a piece of land like this, you would never find it again.
Whether alive or dead, Don said, he will be in the mountains. Subscribe for the rest of our Appalachia series and our
Damn, that was sweet. I don't know. What did you guys think about that? I actually really liked that, you know? I feel like once I turn 40 or 50, like I could see myself living in the mountains somewhere and just not really, like, not going into the city or anything like that. Just kind of being on my own. You know what I mean? I think we all, as a collective, went into this video with our own judgments, right? Like, oh, conservative, Confederate flag, oh, he's a racist or whatever. But like, it genuinely touched me in like a weird way. And like, obviously that community does have racism, and I don't know if the main guy in the film like is a racist or not. Like, I don't know, but I don't know, it just kind of like, I feel bad. I went in with my prejudgments, you know what I mean? Okay, I think this is the second part.
What happens when you mix the country, the South, and Appalachia? You get places like Rabun County, Georgia, one of the most conservative and unique areas of the United States. It's a place that hasn't voted for a Democrat since 1976 and just went 78% for Trump, but there's a whole lot more than politics that make it interesting. Georgia's America's 9th most diverse state. A third of its population is black, the third highest share in the country, and 10% is Hispanic. There's also a large Asian population. But Appalachian Georgia is overwhelmingly white. In some counties, fewer than 1% of residents are black.
People, especially up north, you know, when they think of places like Georgia and the South, they think a lot of people are racist. What do you think about that?
Not everybody, man. You know, just some people, and then some other people, they're just not used to anything else.
But that doesn't mean it isn't diverse. Now, every weekend, these different people come together at markets like this one, where people trade what they have and share stories about what's been happening. At this one, near the Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina border, we met people who had come throughout the South to trade what they have.
Wow. You can tell them ain't cut.
Georgia and Appalachia was once known as America's backwater. Made famous by the movie Deliverance, it was known accurately as a place that lacked paved roads and electricity. In many places, those things didn't arrive until the 1990s, if that. The region has since changed dramatically. Yet it remains one of the country's most distinct regions, home to 3 different people and cultures. Appalachian are mountain people, country people, and Southerners. We went to see what they believe. Now, before we get to Appalachia, let's talk about the South. People outside the South often label it one big Republican monolith, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Nowadays, southern cities are basically liberal with diverse populations and huge numbers of northern transplants. Atlanta, known as the capital of the South, is a prime example of that. The country is deeply religious, which in Georgia often means Baptist.
We're independent Baptists, King James Bible only.
Baptists believe in people being born again or being forgiven after fully accepting Jesus Christ.
Are you 50, 75, or 100% sure you're going to heaven when you die? So when we die physically, our soul and our spirit will never die. It'll go one place or the other, heaven or hell. You see, there's a misconception in the world. Everybody is God's children. No, we're not. We are God's creation. And the only way to be God's child, you got to be born into his family by being born again. Come on. Show folks from the Bible what you have to do to be able to go to heaven. 3:12 tells us there is none that doeth good, no, not one. In other words,
it's the sunglasses over the cowboy hat for me. That's swag right there.
You can't do good enough works to go to heaven on your own. See, my baby, my only son at 26 years old, he's in heaven today. He was killed instantly in a car wreck. If my son that night had not known the Lord, he'd be in hell right now.
These conservative religious beliefs run deep among both country
I don't know about all that, but that is sad. I feel bad for his son.
people and Appalachia people.
So you're selling all this stuff?
Yeah, that's all the stuff we set out on tables and stuff. And I'm trying to stick on the way.
Abortion legal here?
I don't know. I don't believe in abortion now. I think if God bless you with a baby, you should have it. If you don't want it, give it to somebody that can have it. So I don't believe in abortion. I'm bad to say because I'm a woman, but I don't.
Yeah, a lot of people say all women should
no.
want this.
If God blessed you with that baby, it means it's supposed to be here. You should have it. If you don't want it, give it to somebody that can have it. There's so many people who want kids that can't have them. and it's not right for them just to kill it off. I've got 5 kids. I only want to.
It's not that simple. Do you know how many kids are in the foster care system because no one wants to adopt them? You can't just say, oh, if you don't want it, just give it away. It's not that fucking simple. Ugh. See, this is like, I would love to live in a rural community like this where like there's community, there's family, everyone's there for each other. You cook your, you grow and you cook your own food. But then like my neighbor says some dumb shit like this, I'm turning hermit. You know what I mean? I'm not leaving my house.
I wanted 2, but I got 5.
You put your money where your mouth is.
What's wrong with this country is they turn their face on God. And if you turn your face on God, He'll turn your face on you. All this bad stuff's going on in this country. It's for a reason, just like Israel. I mean, them's God's people. And who's the biggest defender of Israel? We are, United States.
Another belief that many people...
Okay, well, that was nice while it lasted. You know what I mean? Oh my God, not the people in Israel are the children of God. Oh God, someone needs to like erase my brain from the fact that he said that. I was starting to feel bad for him.
But certainly not all, or maybe even most, have here is pride in the Confederacy. In Rabun County in Appalachia, there's one of the United States' best-known rebel stores.
North Georgia in 2001.
What's your conception of Abe Lincoln?
He was an open white supremacist. Back in 95, Denver, Colorado, I saw some guys in church in the corner talking, and I went over to hear what they were talking about Abraham Lincoln and the war. And I said, well, that's not what I was taught in school. Where are you getting this information? And that's why I started reading books. Just became an avid reader of Southern history. Wrote a few books of my own.
What's your conception of Abe Lincoln versus the typical conception?
He was not the friend of the black man. He was an open white supremacist. In fact, he was also involved in the colonization movement where he wanted to actually ship them all out of the country.
Yeah. Civil War. Is it a war in the South? How do you see it? How do you describe it?
It was a war.
Chat, do we agree? I'm curious. Do we agree that Abe Lincoln was an open white supremacist? I actually don't know that deep in the weeds about American Southern history. Also, my ex-boyfriend was a U.S. historian, so a bitch is traumatized. But yeah, actually, I agree, chat. I think Abe Lincoln was not that great of a person. I do remember him not being a great person, but I don't know like the details, you know what I mean?
Against competing views of government. Northerners, again, centralists, they wanted to consolidate power in D.C., and Southerners were heavily states' rights advocates, keeping decentralized power with the states. Basically an economic and political dispute.
And what about slavery?
Slavery was thrown in to give it a moral justification.
What does the rebel flag mean to you today in the modern context?
An opposition to tyranny.
A lot of people see this and they say this is a flag that fought to keep slavery, and therefore...
Not true. That's a reductionist argument. I think it's offensive to black people to treat them as a monolithic group of people with all the same views. They are as varied as we are.
Do you have a favorite item in the store?
But really, honestly, I wrote this one on Lincoln's views, on the early Republicans, white supremacist views. The editor of the New York Tribune, he said, what I do about slavery is just strictly what I'm trying to accomplish in the war. And basically he's saying, I'm not really after slavery itself, it's just the end result.
Does that not justify the war, though, or the actions?
Why? Because it was abolished as a result of the war at the cost of 1 million people? No. And also, what happened to the former slaves, they were just let loose. Robert Louis Dabney documented that 1/4 of all the slaves within 5 years of the war had died from starvation and disease. So no, the ends do not justify the means. They disrupted an entire way of life for millions of people, killed a bunch of people, just totally destroyed the economy, and changed the whole nature of the government forever. So I don't think it was justified. And if it had just been left alone for the Southerners to work it out on their own, I think it would have just faded away on its own.
I don't know enough about U.S. Southern history to comment on this. How many slaves were killed over the hundreds of years? Huh, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, let's replay that. Hold on, maybe I missed something.
The ends do not justify the means. They disrupted an entire in the war, and basically he was saying, I'm not really after slavery itself, it's just the end result.
Does that not justify the war, though, or the actions?
Why? Because it was abolished as a result of the war at the cost of 1 million people? No. And also, what happened to the former slaves, they were just let loose. Robert Louis Dabney documented that 1/4 of all the slaves within 5 years of the war had died from starvation and disease. So no, the ends do not justify the means. They disrupted an entire way of life for millions of people, killed a bunch of people, just totally destroyed the economy. economy and change the whole nature.
Okay, from my understanding, he's commenting on his opinions on the Civil War. And I could be wrong, but that's like what I'm getting from what he's saying, because it's kind of cut weird, but I think that's what he's addressing. And I don't really think it's his place to talk about the Civil War, to be completely honest with you. Like, you're a white man that is living in this day and age. Like, who are you to speak on if you think the Civil War was, you know what? I just feel like it's not, I don't know. I feel a little icky about it. I don't know. I just don't think it's really his place to give a weeded opinion about the Civil War. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing about racist people. Like I said, they're very, very, very nice. And then once you start asking them about their political views, like, it just starts all getting all whacked out. Like, the conversation gets all fucked up. You know what I mean?
As we drove deeper into the mountains, something we learned was that isolation has traditionally defined the Appalachian people, the older of whom grew up with no roads or electricity.
That's kind of crazy that he just said that there's no roads or electricity for people who lived in the Appalachia and grew up there. Like, what do you mean there were no roads or electricity? That's like the definition of not having any infrastructure whatsoever.
I was raised in the Tennessee mountains, and when I moved up here, my wife's parents, they lived up here.
Where you were raised, paved roads, electricity?
No, I thought we were rich because we had a 2-seater outhouse.
Appalachia's isolation has driven mountain people to have particularly conservative beliefs and often a distrust of strangers. The isolation has led Appalachia people to have a tremendous amount of pride and generosity and a deep understanding of nature.
I mean, I'd help anybody. I'd give you my whole shirt off my back if I need to. There's worms in there 6 inches long, buddy. They're like snakes.
Now, the last frontier of the mountain people are the hillbillies, and everyone has a different definition of who they are.
Are hillbillies still a thing?
My neighbors would consider hillbillies, I guess, because they backwoods country and ain't got no sense.
A real hillbilly, like a real bad one. I mean, those are the rebel flag, racist usually.
So what's a hillbilly compared to a mountain person?
They usually just stay to their family. You know what I mean? They don't go in town much and stuff, you know. But, you know, I mean, they're good people. I know one that lived down the road before I even moved here when my sister lived there. He used to get a jug of moonshine, and when he got in trouble with his wife, he'd get on the moonshine, a jug of moonshine, get on his mule, and a sleeping bag in his shotgun, and he'd go up in the hills. He'd go in the hills for a week.
We searched for the hillbillies as documented in our last video. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe.
Okay, well, I think that was great brain rot. Once again, like I said, I feel like these areas, the people are very nice, they're very welcoming, they're very sweet, but then, you know, once you start talking to them about politics, the whacked out racism comes out, and you just kind of gotta go with it, because these are not the type of people you want to be correcting, because they're all probably fucking glocked up and ready to go. But anyways, thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. My name is Ariana Jasmine. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment for more videos like this, and I'll see you next time.